From a sad, unfortunate childhood to a mega star on your screen, this will be the story about Missy Elliott and the truth that you may all know or may not know. Let's get into it.
Bang down, flip it and reverse it.
Melissa Arnett Elliott was born on July 1st, 1971 in Portsmouth, VA. Missy is the only child of mother Patricia Elliott, a power company dispatcher, and father Ronnie, a former U.S. Marine. If you know anything about military dads and Marines, then you know how strict they can be. Now, Elliott grew up in an active church choir family, and singing was a normal part of her youth. At the age of 4, she wanted to be a performer, and she would sing and perform for her family. I know so many stars that started out like that, like they just loved to perform, and they would always be in the church, and then, it would just be up from there. She feared no one would take her serious because she was always the class clown. She'll really have you cracking up in class, like the home girl, I could really see her being that because her nature is still like that. While her father was an active Marine, the family lived in Jacksonville, North Carolina. She enjoyed school for the friendships that she formed, even though she had little interest in schoolwork. She told the Guardian paper that she would change all her F's to B's to fool her mom. She would try to fool her mom to make her mom think that she was getting A's and B's. Even though Missy was slacking off in school, she knew from the time she was in kindergarten that she wanted to be a musician. She had that love young. She already knew, I'm going to be a musician. I'm going to be a superstar. But when she would tell her classmates her dreams of becoming a superstar, and she talked about this in Marie Claire magazine, they would just all laugh at her. They would all laugh at her oh, you're not going to make it. Stop. Girl, come again. No, it's not going to happen. They were haters. She would later go on to excel on her tests and in school, which actually led her to be 2 years ahead of the class. So when she was ahead of her class, she would sometimes, get isolated because she was such the square or the nerd, I guess, to a degree with her good grades, or they at least categorized her as that. And then sometimes she would just purposely fail because, she wanted to kind of fit in with the school kids. And then she would eventually, return to her previous class. Isn't that something? She went through so much, to the point where, she was getting good grades. And then now she's, purposely failing just so she can get back with her previous class and not be looked at as a high exceller. Oh, wow, that's something. When her father returned from the Marines, they moved back to Virginia, where they lived in extreme poverty. Life in Virginia saw many hardships. Elliott talks about domestic abuse by her father. She refused to stay over at friends' homes out of fear that on her return home, her dad will unalive her mom. That's strange. That's tough. That's hard. That's so many different emotions in one. In one violent incident, Ronnie Elliott dislocated his wife's shoulder. And during another, Elliott herself was threatened with a gun. Her dad was real wild. At the age of 14, Elliott's mother decided to end the situation and fled with her daughter, and she told Missy dad that she was going to take a joyride on a local bus. Now, in reality, we know what this was going to end up being. Missy and her mom ended up going to a family member's home where their possessions were stored in a loaded U-Haul truck. So they went to a family member house to get away from Missy's dad. Now, Missy tells her that she feared her father would unalive them both for leaving. So that left Elliott scared. That left her sad and oh, I don't know what to do. Is he going to come and find us? Is this going to end up ending bad? You could just imagine all the stuff that she was going through and, just the stuff that she was thinking being as young as 14. Missy thought that if only someone could recognize her music abilities, she would finally be able to escape her life of poverty. That was her only way out, she thought. I have to make it. I have to get out of this poverty. I have to get my mom out of this. We sleep in roaches. We got all of this stuff. We got to get up out of here. So Missy would send letters and tapes every day to some of her idols, including Michael and Janet Jackson, begging them to rescue her. And and Missy even recalled saying that they never wrote her back. They never wrote her back. And she cried and cried and cried about it every night because she wanted them to write her back and hear her out, hear her music so she could make it, get out of poverty. Now, she's going through all of this being a young teenager. So you could just imagine, she's seen a lot. Her mom went through a lot. Her dad put them both through a lot. She was taken advantage of. You can just imagine all of the stuff. And it's a lot of more stuff that she went through that she probably not even talking about. So you could imagine what she's going through at, in her teenage years. This is tough. So she was hoping that Michael and Janet would write her back. But they big time celebrities. They not going to respond probably. They big. They ain't got time, to reach out. Some do, but some don't. Now, in the midst of Missy trying to make it to get out of poverty and become a superstar, she would cry. Like I said, she cried herself to sleep every night. But then her parents told her to give up on her dream of becoming a rapper, and they encouraged her to go to the army. They thought the army was the better option for her, at least back in those times. But see, Missy was afraid she would never be accepted into the military because of her weight. And if you know anything about the military back then, it was harsh. It was harsh. So she didn't think she would be accepted into the military because she was overweight. It was said that when Missy was only 8 years old, her 16-year-old cousin began inviting her to his house after school. It was during that time when the unthinkable happened. And she was too young to really understand what was truly happening, what was going on. But she just knew something wasn't right. She knew something was wrong. And see, when you're that young, a lot of times, when things is wrong. You got that intuition young, that feeling. You know something ain't right, whether you know what it truly is or not. But this just don't feel right. Although Missy and her mom did get away from her abusive dad, they really struggled for many years. It wasn't until Missy formed a group called Sister with her 3 friends and her songwriting partner, Timbaland Mosley. They got discovered by Devontae Swing of Jodeci. Now, if you know anything about the Jodeci story that I had previously recorded and filmed, you will understand that Devontae Swing, he was putting them kids through a lot. He was putting them through a lot. He was going through a lot. It was one big crazy mess. But see, Missy linked up with Timbaland, and you already know what happens after that, And so when they did get discovered by Devontae Swing, he invited them to New York to record an album. They headed to the Big Apple, and that's when Missy found out the cold, hard truth about the music industry. Because the music industry is something. It has always been something. And they are really good at shaming you. Because they would always tell Missy she was too tubby, too big. Overweight. They would tell her, a lot of them would tell her, you could sing, you could write, but she looked wrong. So everywhere Missy turned, it's like she just was getting doors closed in her face. But one thing I can say about Missy is that she stayed true to what she believed in. And we already know where she at today. But she took a lot. She went through a lot to get there. Now, with so many people in the music industry telling her she overweight, she looked wrong. She just didn't have the look, and whatever look that is. But maybe maybe she had to be skinny, and just look a certain way according to their preferences back then. But she felt she had no other options. So with her mindset having no other options, she decided to perfect her skills as a songwriter. She thought, well, I'm still going to break out into the industry, but I'll just stay behind the scenes and I'll be a songwriter. Missy and Timbaland began selling their songs to other artists, and they finally landed their big break when they were signed on to produce Aaliyah's 1996 album, 1 in a Million. All history was literally made at this time. They landed their big break because if you know Aaliyah's 1996 album, 1 in a Million, oh man, that blew up. According to VH1's Behind the Music, Missy, Aaliyah, and Timbaland became inseparable from the first day they met. After they became good friends and inseparable with Aaliyah, Missy and Timbaland were on top of the world. You can just imagine how Missy felt. Like, I came through all of this stuff, and now I'm finally getting somewhere. People hearing me, they gonna see me. So the combination of catchy lyrics and unique beats allowed their songs to dominate the radio and award shows. It was over after that. Everybody kept talking about Missy, Aaliyah, Timbaland. They was hot. With her success as a songwriter and producer, Missy finally got the opportunity to release her own music. Oh, she was on top of the world. She's like, I finally made it. I went through all of this stuff and now I'm on top of the world. Y'all gonna see me. In 1997, her debut album, Supa Dupa Fly, which was produced entirely by Timbaland, brought a futuristic vibe to the music world. It sold 1.2 million copies and was certified platinum. Because she released songs like The Rain, Sock It To Me, and man, those songs really blew her up. And Timbaland produced the whole album. He was hot. And so it was just like a combination that was just ready to explode. And then she later on went to release The Real World in 1999 and So Addictive in 2001. And after that, she was already a household name. Everybody knew who Missy was. She was hot. Everybody was vibing to her music. She was a star by that time. But see, although she was getting all of that success and riding high, sadly, later on, Missy life story took a tragic turn when her friend Aaliyah passed away in a plane crash on August 25th, 2001. Oh man, that still just makes me sad because Aaliyah was on top of her game too. Not only was Missy and Timbaland doing their thing, Aaliyah was right up there doing it with them. The world took a sad loss when Aaliyah passed away in that plane crash. Oh, it's still sad to this day. Missy went on to say, "What I will miss mostly about Aaliyah is her laugh and smile. She could light up any room. I'll always miss recording with her because she wasn't even scared to push boundaries as an artist." And we know that Aaliyah was, man, she started so many trends, you know, the baggy pants, the whole fashion that you see today. A lot of this stuff was inspired by Aaliyah. The hair over the eye, the sunglasses, the oversized jackets, you know, the waist beads. She was doing all of that stuff. Aaliyah been doing it. Beautiful girl. And we still sad about her today. I know I am. I was a huge Aaliyah fan. And Missy never fails to shout out Aaliyah. A lot of times, hey, I want shout out to Aaliyah. She always do that. She hold it down still. Missy was on top of her game. And all her money was rolling in. Missy still didn't spend her first check on herself. Ever since she was a little girl, she would tell her mom, "I'm going to buy you a house. And I'm going to buy you an elevator in case your legs start hurting." And then her mom would just laugh at her wild dream like, yeah, okay. You know how parents are. They be like, okay, yeah, that's great, thank you. But then she really went on to do that. In 2001, Missy held true to her promise by buying a piece of land and building her mom a 5-bedroom, 7-bath, 14,000 square foot mansion in Virginia Beach. She was not playing. And she had that elevator in there for her mom as she promised. With her mom taken care of, Missy finally decided to spoil herself by buying a 4,400 square foot condo in Aventura, Florida. Now, with Missy being in the spotlight as one of the hottest artists, we all know it has its downsides too. The media became fixated on Missy's love life. Rumors about Missy dating everyone, from Eva Marcel to Carrie Hilson, flooded the gossip magazines. The very private entertainer refrained from speaking out about her love life. In 2008, she told People magazine. Then later on, she went on to say she wanted to have kids, but would probably adopt as to not have to go through the pain of childbirth. Maybe in the year 2020, you could just pop a baby out and it'll be fine. But right now, I would just adopt. And that's crazy. She said that back in 2008. It's funny how she spotlighted 2020 out of all years. That's wild. Now, with all of her awards, accolades, Missy Elliott life story transformed into her being a bona fide star. Then she suddenly disappeared. We stopped hearing from Missy. And we was like, what happened to Missy? But we would hear her old music still. But then she later revealed she was diagnosed with Graves' disease in 2008, an incurable autoimmune disorder. She underwent radiation and was prescribed medication to deal with the symptoms, which ranged from dizzy spells to hair loss, a fast heart rate, and bulging eyes. Things got so bad for her at one point, she couldn't even lift a pen to write her own lyrics. She battled with her medical condition. She decided to take a break from her solo career, and she focused on writing and producing for other artists. So Missy just decided to put her talents to use in other areas. She made her return in the spotlight in 2015 when she was asked to join Katy Perry at the Super Bowl halftime show. Missy was terrified. She wasn't sure if people would even remember who she was. The stress of performing in front of so many people eventually led to an anxiety attack she had, a disorder she had been suffering from since she was a child. Missy wound up getting hospitalized the night before the Super Bowl, so her anxiety got the best of her. And she thought, I don't want to make a fool of myself. If people gonna receive me well, how they gonna take me? And that had to be hard for a person who's out the spotlight for so many years. She was able to gather up the strength to put on a flawless performance as we knew she could. Her performance was so nostalgic, and old school heads, they was loving it. Even the youngsters. And Missy was right back where she deserved to be, in the spotlight, on your TV, being creative as she always is. Elliott has won 4 Grammy Awards, 8 MTV Music Awards, and 2 American Music Awards, 6 BET Awards, and a Billboard Women in Music Award for Innovator. She deserved every last bit of that, especially the Innovative Award, because if you know anything about Missy, she was doing a lot of this stuff before it was even a thing. Think of AI, what it is today. Missy been on that. When it comes to all the creativity, when it comes to just getting outside of that box, being different, wearing that big old black trash bag in her music video, like, you know, swallowing a Lamborghini, I think it was. She was doing so many things with the computer animation where these people today, they late. She been doing it. She inspired a lot of this type of creativity in today's artists. On June 13, 2019, Elliott was inducted to the Songwriters Hall of Fame, becoming the first female rapper to receive this honor and the 3rd overall, following Jay-Z and Jermaine Dupri. That is so dope. Like, she killed it with that. Also in 2019, Missy received an honorary Doctor of Music degree from Berklee College of Music and became the first female rapper to receive the Michael Jackson Video Vanguard Award by MTV. The same person she wrote and was trying to get the attention of. Well, you got it this time, and she deserved every bit of it. Now, I know y'all may say, wow, Missy been through so much, but the controversy never ends with just that. Now, as of recent, Missy won the lawsuit against Puerto Rican singer Bad Bunny for plagiarism over the use of a sample of her song Get Your Freak On. After a brief legal battle, Bad Bunny lost the lawsuit. He must now pay Missy a percentage of the song, although the rate was not disclosed. The public had an idea after Missy took to Twitter to clarify the controversy fueled by statements made by Joel. Missy spoke at the beginning of March. In an interview, singer Joel expressed his dissatisfaction with the lawsuit, the small percentage he took, and suggested that singer Missy was taking a big cut of the cake. So he was upset about that. He was like, she don't deserve that. Why is she getting a cut of the cake? Now, Missy later on clarified on her Twitter account that rapper Joel had misled people into thinking that she had taken 99% of the royalties, and explained what the exact percentage that corresponded to her after winning the lawsuit was. In the end, Missy received only 25%, considering 6 more samples from other songs were used and 15 writers participated in the music. So she only got a whopping 25%, not 99%, even though she should have got all of that. But she only got 25%. That's not much, but she got something. After this, Joel apologized to Missy and clarified that it had all been one misunderstanding. Lost in translation, and other writers also had their percentage. And then he also said, hey, we sending Missy love from Puerto Rico. For her part, Missy thanked him for clearing things up. So she was going through a big lawsuit about the royalties of them using her song. And so as of January 16th, it was a huge rumor going around that Missy alleged demise gained traction. People was pretty much saying R.I.P. Missy Elliott. Her Facebook page attracted nearly 1 million likes. Those who read the About page were given a believable account of the rapper's passing. Hundreds of fans immediately started writing their messages of condolences on the Facebook page, expressed their sadness, and they just went on and on and on. But as you may know, your girl Missy is still here. This was one big old hoax. And so Missy is alive and well. And then, social media literally makes a thing out of everything. We know Missy is still here with us, because if she wasn't, she would not have been performing at the Grammys. But I do want to say, that wraps up this video about Missy and how her life has turned, but also went in the right direction. We see you, Missy. Shout out to you, and we still vibe to y'all music. Drop a comment down below if you still vibing to Missy music in 2023. I know I am.